Hello everyone, we hope you are doing great. This is Sudeep Samanjai and I am alumnus of Indian Institute of Science. Today on the following session on GRASP, we have invited Angana De. Angana De managed to make her way into the apex institution of research of the country, Indian Institute of Science, with her KVPY All India rank 292, and she completed her bachelor's and she majored in chemistry and minored in material sciences, and then she joined Purdue University in United States and has been working as a part of Libai Haung's research group. Her current work generally involves using the tools of ultrafast optics to study the excited state dynamics in the emerging semiconductors, and she loves to dance, travel, and read thrillers. So, in the following session, she's going to talk about her life as a chemistry major in the undergraduate program. And she also throws light and discusses about some of the hot topics and trends which are going in the industry of chemistry. So, let's welcome Angana De. Hi, Angana. How are you?
Hi, Sudeep. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, and it's fantastic to have you on our GRASP platform. And
Thank
definitely, our
you.
audience are looking forward to hear more and more from you, especially your juniors in the campus.
Yeah.
So, speaking about coming to our very first curious question, you had all the opportunity to get into medical, and you had so many opportunities in your hand. And why did you choose IISc on the first place? And why chemistry major in IISc?
So, chemistry major, I chose chemistry major because I liked chemistry the most. I guess in school, apart from chemistry, I also liked mathematics a lot. But when I went to IISc, I realized pretty early on that math is not going to be my cup of tea because the math that we do in undergrad is very different from the arithmetic heavy math that we used to do in school. And so I decided to go ahead with chemistry, which was also among my favorite subjects at that point. And I think one of the main reasons was because chemistry is very interdisciplinary. And if you do chemistry, you can also, get engaged in topics in biology or material science or physics for that matter. So it opens up a lot of doors. And yeah, I think that's why I decided to take chemistry as my major and materials as my minor. Why did I choose IISc? I never wanted to become a doctor, but I was considering engineering. In fact, I did go to Fiji for a couple of years. And I did decently well in engineering, but not very good. So I couldn't get into the top IITs with the top subjects. And at that point, I felt that IISc might be a better bet because at the end of the day, I wanted to do research. And so that's why I chose IISc because, of course, the program, the undergrad program, is kind of custom made for people to pursue research once they graduate. And it's among the premier institutes of India.
So, how did you find your life here as a chemistry major?
As a chemistry major, my life was very good. Till this day, I think the time that I spent at ISC was like the best time of my life so far. I feel that as a chemistry major, there was not a lot of pressure. So I had a lot of time to pursue my other hobbies as well, in addition to like studying. So some courses were hard, but some were easy. And so there was a good balance. And, you know, just studying did not take up all of my time. So in IISc, I was also very intensely engaged with dancing and just organizing and stuff like that. So overall, my life was pretty good.
So, can you speak about some of the courses you liked the most and the courses which were challenging?
So I think the courses that I like the most, do you want to know just chemistry or other subjects as well? Just
Um, we can initially let's start with chemistry and then let's add on the other subjects.
Okay. So I think in chemistry, I really liked the quantum courses. The one that we had in our first semester, you must remember, which was taught by KL Sebastian. So that's a great course. And then we had one quantum course that was taken by Didi Sharma, which was very very good as well. One course by Ramasesha on group theory, that was great. Um, um, I also liked the organic course that was taught by Shantanu Mukherjee. I thought that the amount of material that was taught in that course was a lot, but the course was very well taught and I really liked it. The inorganic course by Professor Jemis was also very good. So these are among my favorite courses in chemistry. The ones that I found challenging was the Stat Mech course by Professor Govardhan. That was challenging. And even the inorganic course by Dr. Jemis was a little challenging in the sense that I liked it, but it pushed you to think a lot. So that was pretty challenging. The electrochemistry course was a little challenging. Yeah.
So, what was your study hour and work hour input on an average per day?
On an average, I would say 2 to 3 hours in the evenings. Like the mornings and the afternoons would usually go in just, attending classes and doing labs and stuff like that. But in the evening, I don't think I studied more than 2 to 3 hours on an average on a daily basis. Of course, if I had an assignment to complete or if I had an exam the next day, then I had to study a lot more and sometimes maybe for 8 hours or so. But yeah, on an average, I would say 2 to 3 hours.
So, can you throw some light on your lab lives, how you found the labs in which you worked on?
So I was part of the department, the MRC department, and part of N. Ravi Shankar's lab for my bachelor's thesis. And I think it was a very good lab in the sense that there were not just the facilities in the lab, but also the members of the research group were extremely helpful and they were great mentors. So they would always address any questions or doubts that we had, and they trained us and told us how to use all the instruments and everything. And there were a lot of instruments and equipments that we could at our disposal, basically. So um, that was one of the main projects that I worked on in IISc. In my first year, I also worked in Dr. Varsha Singh's lab in the Department of Biology, where I also felt that the lab environment was very conducive to research. Everybody was very helpful and very nice, and they taught us well. Um, yes.
So, can you speak a bit about the challenges you have faced on both on the academic as well as personal front as a chemistry major, and how did you overcome them?
Um, okay, so as a chemistry major, I'm not sure if if my answer would be very unique. Like it's a general challenge that I faced during my stay in IISc. Um, so, which was that I believe in our third semester. So, in our first 3 semesters, we have to do all these different subjects. Right. So I felt that in my third semester, I had a hard time managing time because there was just a lot to do, like, physics, chemistry, maths, biology, humanities, and whatnot. So I had a hard time with time management in my third semester. And the other problem that I faced was when we come back from our summer internships abroad, and in that semester we also apply for PhD, like after completing our bachelor's. So that was one time when I had some trouble again with time management because I had just come back from my summer internship. I was still not very sure if I wanted to do a PhD or not. I had to prepare for GRE and TOEFL and all of those other exams. So that semester was a little heavy in that regard. How I managed that, I think a very important part of something that's very helpful is if you have a good group of friends and if you're part of a study group. I felt like I was able to learn concepts faster, and I was just a lot more productive, and my learning process kind of fastened when I was studying with my friends, like other people in chemistry major and so on. So I felt like in my third semester, when I was having a hard time with time management, the situation improved a little bit when I started hanging out with these other people and kind of forming these small study groups and studying with them. Um, the other problem that I talked about, which is when I came back from my summer internship and was having a hard time dealing with the question of applications and all of that. I did not really overcome that problem. I did not write my GRE. I never had the time to. So I did not overcome it. But I think a good way to prevent yourself from falling in that situation is if people start thinking about it from that summer itself. So basically, from the summer of your third year, people should start maybe preparing for their GRE TOEFL, and they should start thinking about which universities they want to apply to, which professors they want to apply to. So they should start preparing for that whole application process pretty early on, because otherwise it can get pretty decked up with like your courses, applications, exams, and stuff. So I would just say that if people start early from the summer, it might be helpful and they won't face the problems that I did.
That's great to hear from you, Angana. And coming to the grad school application, that has been one of the challenges which almost every students face once
Mhm.
they come into their final year,
Right.
applying for PhD abroad. So, can you throw some light on how IISc helped you with your grad school application selection and research?
Right. So I think apart from the fact that IISc is considered and recognized as one of the best institutes for research in India, the fact that the undergrad program in IISc is tailor made for students to apply and go for PhD in the US right after their bachelor's kind of helps in the sense that firstly, I think all the seniors are very helpful, and the students should start becoming friends with and having a rapport with the seniors, because the seniors are the people who guide you on how the application process is, and read their SOPs, proofread their SOPs, and help improve the SOPs and so on. Um, the other thing is that the process of the summer internship, which people do sometimes do abroad in their third years, that helps because that kind of gives the students some experience in searching for universities abroad or professors abroad. And even the summer internship itself gives everyone a flavor of how living abroad and working in a totally new environment might be like. So, that summer internship, being able to do that summer internship in our third year abroad, is a very useful experience. And being a part of IISc certainly helps in getting that summer internship abroad. Because if we are in other regional universities, I think it's really hard. And I think the student themselves have to take a lot more initiative in reaching out to universities abroad to get an internship. However, in IISc, as we know, there are these programs like DAD and the NTU Singapore program, which is mediated by the professors of IISc, and the professors at IISc have collaborations abroad. So, in some sense, being at IISc definitely helps the students to get an internship abroad, which in turn is a very good learning experience for the applications to grad school. The other thing is the professors at IISc are some of the best scientists in India, and so their recommendations have a lot of weightage. So in this application process to schools in the US, recommendations are very important. In a lot of cases, they make or break the deal. So to have recommendations from professors in IISc who are very well known and well recognized, that helps a lot. And like I said, the seniors that I interacted with, they had a lot of experience already in applying because they had done the process a year earlier, and they are extremely helpful. So the seniors are the ones who kind of guided us towards how to apply and how to succeed in that regard.
That's really nice to know, Angana. And of course, the senior support system in IIC has been fantastic, provided that we are the ones who are going to reach them first, not the other way around. But
That's
yeah,
okay.
in things like some of the events like Pravega, Entrepreneurship and Innovation IIC Forum, there are so many forums. Once you get along in these, you definitely get to meet a lot of seniors
Mhm.
and make the best use of it. So, can you provide some tips to the students who are applying or who want to apply for grad school and pursue ab- research abroad?
Sure. So the grad school application process is kind of a puzzle in the sense there's no rule book telling us that, if you do this, 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 then you will definitely get through. So it's kind of, you know, y- so I think the first thing is that people should start early on. This is something I've already said. So people should, from the if they are planning to apply in their, like, if they want to join PhD right after their bachelor's, then in the third year summer itself, they should start thinking about which schools they want to apply to, which professors they want to apply to, and start working on their GRE, TOEFL, and also their SOPs and such. If they want to complete their master's in IISc, then they can do that in the summer of their fourth year. The second thing is the statement of purpose is a really important document, and it needs to be unique in the sense that it needs to be something that will stand out among the hundreds of applications that these universities get. So it needs to be personal, it needs to be unique, but it also doesn't need to be over dramatic. In an effort to make it unique, I've read a lot of SOPs which become like extremely dramatic and kind of a no case. So keep it simple, concise, but also try to make it unique, and definitely try to you know have a number of different people read your SOP and give you some feedback. It can be seniors, it can be professors that you're close with. For example, Momita ma'am, who was an undergrad chemistry instructor, she read my SOP and she suggested a lot of changes. So definitely have 3 or 4 people read your SOP and suggest changes, and make keep improving the draft till you think you've reached the best version of it. The other thing that helps is to reach out to the professors that the students are thinking of applying to, because a lot of the time, whether or not a university accepts you depends on whether or not they find that you would be a good match for one or multiple professors in the department. So if you email a professor beforehand and if they give you a positive feedback, and if you strike a connection or a rapport, it might be easier for you to get in because the professor would, drop in a word in your favor. So, and this is possible only if you start early on, like thinking about the application process and doing your search early on. So that's there. The other thing is recommendation. So most schools require 3 recommendation letters. And those can come from professors who have taught you or professors you've worked under, like on projects with, right? I would say that go ahead with the professors you think like you the most, because those recommendation letters are very, very important. So a lot of the time, a recommendation letter might be, I mean, like somebody might write good things about you, but you have to kind of go ahead with professors who would write the best about you. So the stronger the recommendation letter, the better your chances are at getting in. So when you are approaching professors for recommendations, go ahead with the ones you think you have the best rapport with, or who have think the best of you, those kinds of professors. So yeah, these are the main things. Other than that, I think of course grades are also important. So just try to work hard throughout and maintain good grades um, in in um, in your courses. And GRE, TOEFL, these are also pretty important. But nowadays, I've heard that a lot of universities are uh, kind of giving up and they don't require GREs anymore. But otherwise, if you would still have to prepare a lot for GREs, and I believe a score anywhere above 330 is good, 325, above 325 is good. So spend a decent amount of time preparing for those GRE and TOEFL exams. And that's why it's important to start early in the summer. Yeah.
Well, that's an important load of information. I'm very sure your juniors would be very happy to take that and become more aware from the very early stage. And of course, grad school applications have been a really big challenge for most of them, and especially finding the right mentorship and planning things early, which
Hmm.
students usually do not get along that line because they just haven't been told. But
Exactly.
this discussion would definitely help them. And coming to one of the questions, which apart from all these IISc and stuff, coming to one of the questions which is quite fascinating to the whole external world. Just like if you take a profession of a doctor, that people can easily say that this is where their endpoint is. So is the profession of engineer. But in chemistry, most of the things are unknown. How the job opportunities and what is the current fascinating research in the chemistry. So can you throw some light on the future of chemistry in academia and industry, its opportunities, and some of the current fascinating research which is happening in the chemistry world right now?
Sure. So, yeah, I think the opportunities and the amount of questions that are unanswered and things unknown in chemistry, that's just never ending. So there's no dearth of opportunities. And one of the main reasons is, again, because I think chemistry is just so diverse in nature. So according to me, I feel like the two most hot areas of research in chemistry right now, number one is drugs. So basically biochemistry, that area, right? So there are these mul I mean, like huge companies, many companies which work on developing drugs for various diseases. And those are areas that people can find jobs in. And there's also some really promising research that's going on there. Um, the other area that I am working on is also very promising, which is, I think, deciphering the material properties, various like properties of various materials, and using them for various types of applications. In my case, I work on semiconductors, and these are used in devices like solar cells, LEDs. Really, any kind of device you can think of under the roof probably has a semiconductor in it. So at the end of the day, it is chemistry that dictates how matter reacts with, interacts with itself and other things. And so that is another area, I would say, which is very developing. And of course, there are a lot of these semiconductor companies, right? and there are a lot of jobs as well in this area. Fabrication, which is basically synthesis of these materials, and then characterization. So these are all things that people can work on. Um, yeah. The other thing is, as we know, that quantum technology is making a lot of progress these days. Um, supercomputers, quantum entanglement, and stuff like that. So that is mostly physics, but physical chemists can also work in that area. So that is also something that's kind of coming up these days. A lot of these companies like IBM and so on, they work on this quantum area. So that's again a place where you can have like, so essentially there's a lot of opportunity for research and jobs in chemistry in various sectors. I couldn't talk a lot about organic chemistry because I have not been associated with it a lot, but I think that for organic chemistry, one of the biggest areas for research and jobs is the drug industry, like I said. And materials chemistry is extremely promising. These nanomaterials that people work with these days have fascinating properties and can, like, very easily tune up. They're very easily synthesized, they're very tunable. So, you can basically tweak these nanomaterials to obtain any property that you want out of it. So, nanomaterial research, semiconductor research, all of this comes under chemistry, and all of it is very promising.
That's really nice to know, Angana. And coming to our one of the question which I personally wanted to ask you is, how was your transition from IISc to Purdue?
How is my transition? It was hasty. So, like I mentioned, I never wrote my GRE because I wasn't planning on starting my PhD right after my bachelor's. I was actually applying to some master's programs in the UK with the hope of having like a year to do my master's and a year to think whether I want to do a PhD, and if I want to, then which universities I want to go to. So my application to Purdue was almost like a test application because I'd sent my TOEFL score to Purdue randomly, and Purdue did not require a GRE score. And it was like, like the application was supposed to get closed in like the next 3 days or so. So it was a very hasty application. And it was like, I wanted to apply because I thought this would give me an idea of whether or not I have a chance to get in a school of Purdue standing. So that's the reason I applied, and I got in, which I did not expect would happen. So after that, things were hurried, and I did not get a lot of time to think. So I went to Purdue, and to be honest, the first few months it was really hard because Purdue is in the middle of nowhere. It's in a village, there's nothing there. So, going from living in Bangalore, which is extremely vibrant, to living in a place like West Lafayette, which is the town that Purdue is in, it's not a good transition. And secondly, in ISC, we used to have so many friends. We were essentially living with our friends. We were eating with them, we were going to classes with them, studying with them, always surrounded by friends, always had people to talk to. That was not there in Purdue. I had like two or three friends. And just in general, grad school is hard because you are in a different country and everybody is extremely busy. Once you're in the US or in any other country for that matter, you are responsible for yourself. You have to take care of your health, you have to cook, you have to clean your clothes, pay your taxes, do everything on your own. And so people are extremely busy. So and there's just a lot on your plate. So, and once in grad school, it's not like you just do your courses, you also have to do research, you also have to teach. So there's a lot going on. But of course, if you have a good support system, you can, it will take some time, but you eventually settle in and things start falling into its place. So that's what happened with me as well. The initial months were a little difficult, sad and lonely and stressful, but eventually I got the hang of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something which is really important, and that is actually a factor which most of us overrule.
Yeah.
We think whenever we consider all these things, we don't really think of that space as one of the factors. And once we get into these areas, it really starts impacting. But the most important and the most courageous thing is that you evolved and you're standing above that. That is something which I'm really happy to know.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Sangana, it was really a great session, and I'm looking can you just speak some little dose of motivation for your juniors as well as for the students who are looking forward to um, explore the areas of chemistry as well as pursue their career in the future.
Right. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess in these trying times of COVID, when things are so uncertain, little doses of motivation are important. So, I would just like to say to everyone that, IISc, of course, is a great place to be. If you are in IISc, you can be rest assured that most of the work is done. Um, and I would just say that you need to be hopeful. Help is always there if you need it. If you're going through anything, try to talk to friends, make friends. And it's important to have a lot of friends because they are the people who kind of, helped me get through any of these difficult times. And I was in lows of my life, but I overcame those. So you can too. So just remember that, after rain comes a sunny day and every cloud has a silver lining. So you just need to be optimistic and just do your best. Just do your best, and yeah, things will work out, things will fall into place, and at the end of the day, whatever happens happens for a reason.
Thank you, Angana. First of all, we are very grateful for your time and consideration to talk on our platform.
Thank
And
you for giving me
definitely,
this opportunity to talk. I hope that whatever I said can help some people.
definitely it will definitely. Especially, because of the COVID and stuff, there has been a lot of connection lapse between
Hmm.
students, and it's very different compared to how the scenario was when the classes were offline.
Right,
Many
yeah.
of them are still staying in their home, and
Hmm.
people do not really have that rapport or connect with the seniors, other than a few who are literally looking forward to explore all different areas of IAC. And yeah, it was a fantastic talk, and we are also looking forward to engage in more such sessions.
Great, thank you for taking the initiative to start this channel. I think it's a great effort.
Thanks a lot, Angana. Means a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, guys. With this following uh, words of motivation from Angana, we are concluding this talk. Please like, share, and subscribe our channel for more such engaging content. And we are looking forward to engage with you more in the future. Thank you.